for a fact, God has a sense of humor because I feel like everybody knows this was going to be the episode that I'm like the most excited about.
And of course,
this is the week where the universe and God is like, you know what? You're going to be
sit
sick this week.
down.
Right. Relax. Not so much energy, which I think is going to be a blessing in disguise. Because if I had 100% energy during this episode, I promise you we would take up their whole Sunday.
That's true.
We would be here all day because there's so many questions. Literally, the vibe of the family is really beautiful. Love what one of the oldest said about like the legacy of the family name is really dope, and the fact that they have the vision of rebuilding Black Wall Street in their neighborhood. So there's a lot of really good stuff we're going to talk about in today's episode. If y'all are watching live and you have questions, make sure you put them in the comments, put them inside the live chat, and we'll pop it up. If you're on the replay, hey, still ask those questions and we'll get back to you. Queen.
Yes.
Before we get into it, we need to do our small business sponsor.
Let's get it. Who we got today?
Today we got Darlena Moore Mortgage Central. If you're looking to build the new Black Wall Street in any state, you're probably going to need access to some capital, to some financing. So
you got it like that.
Unless you balling, unless you LeBron, unless you Steph, unless you Robert Smith, you're probably going to need a little bit of capital. So y'all can tap into Darlena Moore Mortgage Central. Let's go ahead and throw up that mission for Darlena Moore real quick so the queen with her amazing eyes can read it.
Darlena Moore is a licensed California, shout out to the West Side, mortgage broker that is an expert in residential mortgages. Her team of real estate agents and associates can assist you with the sale, buying, and financing of a property in any property in California.
Boom. Another thing that they do is trust as well. So don't only get the property, but you want to make sure you have a nice, smooth way of transitioning that property from one generation to the other. And you can do that through a living trust. So they can do that for you too. So make sure y'all tap in. Go ahead. What's that at right there, Sinclair?
At the Darlena Moore on Instagram. And the website is darlenamoore.com. That is DARLENAMOORE.com.
You enjoyed that?
Yeah, it reminded me of Expedia.
I'm glad you enjoyed that, Sinclair. So now getting back to it again, today we have an amazing episode. Y'all know we're all about building generational wealth, particularly for the Black family, for the Black community. And when we think about building generational wealth within the Black community, Black Wall Street is clearly the North Star, right? It is the pillar. It is the kind of epitome of building Black communities together. And I absolutely love what this family is doing out in Mississippi. They are rebuilding Black Wall Street in their own vision for their own community. So are you ready? It is goals, like literally family goals. We're going to get
literally have "We Will Rebuild" written on the back of most of our shirts. So y'all are doing it. I'm here to learn. Let's go.
Let's go. All right. Well, beautiful people, thank y'all for tuning in. And without further ado, let's get into the episode. Over 50% of Black Americans are unmarried, and only 2% of Black families in America have a net worth over $1 million.
We are on our journey to not only join that 2%, but grow that 2%.
Facts. I'm Devon Travell, creator of Black Wall Street, the board game, with my beautiful co-host.
I'm Sinclair, aka the Health Nerd. You can go to our website at them4show.com, our Instagram at them4show, and our YouTube channel at Melanated Married Millionaires in the making.
And welcome to the M4 Show. Oh, bring them out. Bring them out. We got the Reimonenq in the building. We got, I didn't say it right?
Reimonenq.
Oh, my goodness. I'm terrible. I'm terrible.
Reimonenq. That's one. Let me keep a tally of how many times I need to correct you.
Oh, my goodness. But we got Queen Liz in the building. We got Tony Jr. We got Tony the Third. Got Jarius, and Julius. Come on, strong family. Welcome, y'all. Thank y'all for tapping in. And from what I hear, y'all have had a media tour. How's that been so far?
Man, it's been great. We've had man, people literally from all over the world, as far as Africa, reaching out. Different podcasts, different shows, some national, some local. It's been really good. And the good thing about it is that it brings family to the front and center as the foundation for anything that we want to do economically. And so that's been very good.
Oh yeah, and was that the goal? Like when y'all set into 2022 and you're like, all right, we're gonna do this project, which we're gonna talk about in detail. We want to put family at the forefront, and we want to be on media outlets to get this message out. Like, was that the goal, or is this just happening?
Well, it's just happening. We as a family, we've always had the idea of family first type thinking, and economic empowerment has kind of always been an underpinning. But how this is playing out was not planned.
Just happening, the universe just unfolding.
Oh yeah,
out before your eyes.
Oh yeah, love it. So I want to get into a little bit of the experience to leading up to this grand, amazing project, right? So before 2022, can y'all talk about maybe the industries that Liz and Tony, that y'all were in before getting into real estate, or has real estate always been the lane?
I'll let you share a little bit.
Well, I'm actually a hairstylist by trade. So I own a hair salon here within the city. I've been in business 21 years now. So yeah, so that's still my love, my passion. And we kind of fell over into real estate by looking for a new location. And so I'll let him go into that.
Yeah, so for years, but let me go all the way back, right, to us buying our first home and coming from out of bad credit, bad finances, that type of thing, right? And by the grace of God, we were able to buy our first home. And my wife was just finishing hair school. So long story short, we didn't have any money. Credit pretty much shot. Mine was, at least. Yes.
Yours.
So we used the little savings we had, which probably was about maybe $1,000 to $1,200. Bought used equipment. Started that salon right in the kitchen of our house. That thing grew, and we added on to the house eventually to its own dedicated space. Then we moved out to our first commercial building that we rented. And then we kept expanding, and finally we got priced out of the commercial space we were in, and that led to us buying our first commercial property back in 2015. And so it was all basically a response to pain that got us into real estate. We kind of stumbled into it.
Nice. But it seems like the foundation was the hair salon, right?
Yeah.
We want to do hair. This is the passion. We're going to start however we can. And as this hair salon grows, our real estate portfolio has also begun to grow, right? So talk to us a little bit. And this is for people who are interested in commercial real estate. Maybe they have their own hair salon. Maybe they have a health coaching business, education business, and they have their spot where they do work in, but maybe they never considered owning the real estate, right? Maybe that never considered in their plan before. Can you talk to them about the process of 2015, y'all getting that first commercial property?
Yeah, so we're priced out of the commercial location, which was a prime location we were in. And they raised the rent on us. I wasn't too happy about that. So we started looking for another place to rent. And what we realized is that there were no places to rent that were affordable. And so we stumbled across this building that was foreclosed. It was bank owned. Nobody in the city wanted to touch it, right? In fact, vagrants were living in it. And so, but it was bank owned, so that made it the bank was very motivated to get it off of their books. So we were able to get it with no money down and 100% of the loan funded by the bank, right?
Ooh.
I didn't know what I was getting. I didn't know it was that good of a deal, right? It's my first time out the chute. And so we acquired the property, and man, they had a lot of upside potential. I had a friend of mine who's been in real estate. He came out and looked at it. He said, well, Tony, I tell you what, man, like we know the lights work. We see it has a roof. We see it has a floor. So we know structurally it is sound. And so we acquired the property with the plans of putting a salon in it. But it had a second floor that had 8 office spaces. And the first floor had 5 other commercial retail spaces. So once we acquired it, we redid the property. And man, that thing it stays about 90% occupied.
Wow.
The second floor is full of tenants. The bottom floor is full of tenants. And we got one spot left upstairs to rent. And so, and it kind of stays about 90-95% occupied. Nice.
And that first property, can you talk about how you found that bank owned? Because I don't think to go to the bank to look for properties.
Right.
So that was a brilliant move. Is there a certain website that you went to, or is it a particular type of bank?
It's just God's providential hand. I mean, I was literally riding around the city. I was in my vehicle and driving neighborhoods and came across the property. And just so happened, it was foreclosed and the bank was motivated, and it was during the time when it was a buyer's market. None of that was strategically planned out by me. In fact, I did not know how good that was. What I had was just ingenuity, ambition, get up and go. What Dr. Carol Dwight would call a growth mindset, meaning that whatever condition I'm in, I'm not imprisoned to this condition. And so the growth mindset says I can do it, which is, I think the growth mindset is also synonymous with what we call a wealth mindset, what we teach at the Empowerment Center. A wealth mindset is one that says I can do it. And that's all I had. And I was inquisitive. I was very inquisitive. I asked a lot of questions and still ask a lot of questions. Good. And you'll be surprised what people will tell you if you just ask. Just ask. I don't care if I look stupid the first time out the chute, but that's going to be the last time I look stupid because now I know.
Yeah. You mentioned earlier that, you know, when you were priced out of the commercial spot and at some point you only had like $1,000 to $1,200, I feel like the average person would be like, I'm in trouble, right? I can't make any moves right now because I'm limited with my funds. I'm limited with everything. But to your point, you know, you really had that, like the possibility, right? The growth mindset of like, we got $1,000. We got $1,200. What can we do with this? Like, where did that mindset come from? Have you always had that mindset, or did you work?
So let me tell you, that's a great question. Great question. So I am the oldest of 18 kids.
Wow. Family.
I grew up in a household with 11 of them.
Wow.
And the captain of that household was a single mother. So I seen her work miracles. I seen her never give up. I seen her hitchhike rides to town, as we called it, to wash our clothes. Trash bag. We didn't have baskets, laundry baskets. We had them in black trash bags. And she would literally hitchhike a ride to town, to the laundromat to wash our clothes and hitchhike a ride back. So I never seen quit. I didn't know what that was, right? I remember one time she got behind on her mortgage, right? God had blessed her to buy a house. That's a whole nother story in and of itself. And we needed $10,000 in 24 hours or we were going to be kicked out.
Wow.
And I remember she said, well, I don't have anywhere to go. God gave me this house. She tried to call different family members to borrow the money. And I don't know too many family members who will lend $10,000 to a single woman, on welfare. So it was kind of like a doomed situation. But lo and behold, God being who he is, provided legally. Let me say that, legally.
There you go.
And let me give you the backstory. I wasn't raised in church. My mama wasn't in church every week, probably on Easter maybe. So I saw faith exercised outside of the construct of church, right? And I saw God move. And there's several stories like that is what helped shape what I would call a wealthy mindset. Because we didn't have the assets, we didn't have the income. But we had the mindset. And the mindset will attract the assets. It will attract the income. And so that's where that comes from, seeing it in my mother, embodied in my mother.
That's kind of a bar. The mindset will attract the income.
Say it again louder.
The mindset will attract the income. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
It all starts up here.
It does. Think and grow rich. Right. So I want to get, you were talking about, how your mother influenced you, the next generation. I want to talk to the next generation behind you as well. And see either one, what's a lesson that y'all are already picking up from the way that you're seeing your parents move, or when was the first time y'all learned about Tulsa's Black Wall Street? I know there's three of y'all back there, so y'all can pick and choose, but either, what's a lesson mindset wise or wealth building wise? Go ahead.
I'm the oldest of the three of us. And I think currently the one that they have been teaching me most recently, what my dad has been trying to get me to understand and know, is that it's not about the amount of money or the amount of income that I am getting in, is what I'm doing with the income that I'm getting. So just really me as a 24-year-old having to make the decisions to be greater later, and the delayed gratification and the choices that I have to make now in order for me to be how I want to be, a year or 2 years from now, are the decisions that I'm making now. So really just retraining my brain. And I, of course, since I was born, the same mindset has been planted in me, but as I'm living it out now, I'm seeing the firsthand experiences of that. So just me now currently trying to manage my money better.
Yeah, that's good.
Praise God.
That's good. All right. How about you, Jarius? You got anything you want to add to that?
I guess for me, it would be kind of going off of what T said. Just seeing my parents from where they came from and watching them from starting from the store, the house. I mean the salon in our house, because that was around the time I was a baby then, and seeing them grow over the years with just faith and work, and seeing my dad get up every morning at 4 o'clock in the morning, just pulling up, and just seeing all of that is just a lesson in itself without him even having to say anything. And on top of the lessons that he did teach us about training our mindset and being around like-minded people and all those type things, but just watch how they handle themselves with each other, without in the community. That was just a big lesson for me in itself.
Yeah, that's good, Jarius. That's good. I love the lessons you're able to learn, not from what my dad or what my mom's telling me, but what I'm watching, what I'm seeing. That's real.
Yeah.
All right, Julius, take us home. Take us home.
Okay, so personally, I think the biggest lesson I've learned from them is that the biggest thing that we carry in this life is, next to our faith, is our name. So our last name, for instance, he's created a family creed. And a few of the principles is, he said, Reimonenq exists to serve God by embracing our purpose and by not being afraid to
What? Put our best foot forward.
Oh yeah, to put our best foot forward and to serve God by doing so. And then you I'm getting tongue tied. Give me a second. Leave the world better than we found it.
Mm-hmm.
So don't just be a taker. And it's like there's so many people that can take, but the more you give, the more people will give to you. So it's kind of like how he said, money and wealth is a mindset. It's kind of the same thing with our last name. The more that you pour into people, the more that you do community with other people, people are gonna pour into you. The way you carry your last name, the way you carry yourself, it speaks louder than your mouth will ever will.
Yes, sir. Way to end it strong, Julius. Shout out to the Reimonenq family creed. Right, y'all exist to serve God. Love the creed.
You got helping each other out back there, like y'all know. I love it. I love it. We definitely have talked about wanting to do that. So it's inspirational to see not only do you carry a lot of respect for your name, and then you have the creed. You make sure your children know the creed. Like I could just imagine how proud you are as parents to hear them talk about being able to see you and your grind and how that's inspiring them. So that one.
Hey, I'm shocked. I'm sitting here saying, "Oh, y'all listen." Yeah. Hey, I'll just throw this out there too. Like several of them have tried their hand, are trying their hand at entrepreneurship right now while they're in school. So Tony graduated from Southern Miss. Here, Jarius right now is at James Madison University on a full scholarship, and Julius is at Southern Miss. And so, as college students, they have some entrepreneur endeavors going as we speak.
Love it. Congrats. Come on, the whole family's grinding. Whole family, love to see it. So I want to start getting into the meat of today, right? And talking about the legacy of Tulsa's Black Wall Street as y'all see it in your eyes, and why y'all felt so moved by this history to name your biggest to date that I know of. Man, y'all can let me know if there's other projects. Project Greenwood Plaza, right? The Linked Up Empowerment Center. Talk to us about how you all learned about Tulsa Black Wall Street and what inspired you to name your new construction after Greenwood.
Man, so just being a reader, I came across Tulsa, Oklahoma, and there were other communities like that, in the United States as well, thriving Black communities. As a response to segregation, Blacks were, relegated to a certain part of the community. And those Blacks with ingenuity decided that they weren't just going to die, they were going to thrive. And they decided to go into business. During the time of segregation, during the time of Jim Crow, during the time that the government foot was on the Black man's neck at the time, but these people still thrive, right, underneath the worst conditions. And so that was inspirational to me, that if God would bless our ancestors during that time to overcome all of those barriers, not only to just survive, but to thrive, how much more could we do today when things are not so hard pressed as they were back then? And so the spirit of that is what captured me. And I wanted to take that spirit and just, if you will, just throw it out in the community. Because where I come from, right, I didn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth, right? And nor the people around me were born with silver spoons in their mouth, right? And so if our ancestors back in the 1920s and earlier could thrive, it didn't matter that I was born with a silver spoon in my mouth. And all the excuses and all of the barriers that I was facing really didn't matter, because they were under worse conditions than I was. and they still thrive.
Mm.
So we face redlining, right? Where banks refuse to give loans to African Americans who lived in a certain side of the community, right? We experience banks charging us higher interest rates than our white counterparts. We experienced banks telling us no, even though we were still qualified. We experienced our houses being underappraised when they found out that that blacks lived in the neighborhood. That neighborhoods are decreased by 50% when it becomes 50% African American occupied. Mm. All things being equal, the only difference, the properties are valued at what they're valued at, but the fact that African American family living there, and this is not my opinion. These are stats. These are facts, right? And so, even with all of those things in our face, our ancestors had it worse than that, and they still thrive. Mm. So that's why I wanted to reach back and pull that into the future, into the present, and say they did it, so can you. And it really doesn't matter that much, the barrier that you're facing, because they did it under worse conditions. So that's the sense of pride. That's the sense of personal responsibility. That's the sense of the essence that this Greenwood Plaza embodies. That's why the name. That's where the inspiration came from.
Ashe. And I don't know if you probably read this in your history as well, but the name even Greenwood, is for our listeners, originally came from Mississippi.
Greenwood, Mississippi. Absolutely.
Right. So it's all right. One more time, Queen Liz.
I said I have roots there. I have family who actually live
there. Wow. So I love how it's literally full circle, how Greenwood, Mississippi was able to inspire Greenwood, Tulsa, Oklahoma, and that issue was able to inspire it coming back to its home place. Love it. So can y'all talk through and tell people about Greenwood Plaza? What is the vision for it? What's going to be there? And then we definitely want to learn, steps on how this project can get duplicated and replicated in other places, right? People are in Arkansas are thinking of how can we build a Greenwood Plaza? People in LA are thinking, how can we build a Greenwood Plaza? What are some of those tangible steps? But first, if you can educate us on Greenwood Plaza, what's the dream? What's the vision?
Well, so the dream is to provide a place that's for entrepreneurs to have a home for their business. And a home that's affordable and desirable. And I laugh every time I say that, because a lot of times what's affordable is not desirable. And so I got a building I can afford, but it's in a location I don't want to be. And so the Greenwood Plaza is to be in a prime location, but yet remain affordable, right? And so the goal is to inspire small business owners to go after their dreams and to know that they have a big brother, big sister to hold their hands through the process. To say, hey, we overcame some of these hurdles. We still overcoming some, but the ones that we were able to get over, we want to help you get over them too, right? And so I'm asked all the time, okay, how are you going to recreate Black Wall Street? I said, well, the goal is not to recreate what was, it's to build on what was and create what is now, right? Because as I stated earlier, the Greenwood district back in Tulsa was a response to segregation.
Yep.
So we're not segregated anymore, we're integrated. It wasn't created because Black people say, hey, we want to beat ourselves and we want to exclude whites, we want to exclude Asians. No, that wasn't the spirit behind it. It was, we had to do this or we was going to die. Right? And so now I believe that, because I think it has to be a systematic effort to raise the equity economically in the Black community, because there was a systematic effort to suppress it.
Facts.
So
Yeah.
So you have to be intentional. So it's not that. So the spirit behind this is not to be exclusively Black, because I think it's going to take the white dollar, the Asian dollar, and all of the dollars poured into the Black community to bring the equity that's needed to have the economic equity as our counterparts. And so we call it really Greenwood 2.0 because it's going to take diversity, but it's going to be a focus on those of us that have been left behind for the longest, right? We're kind of like 400 years behind. Every time Blacks got a chance to get economic equality, it was snatched away from us before we ever got it, right? Going all the way back to 1865, after slavery ended. Abraham Lincoln said, "What is the best thing I can do for free slaves?" He said, "Oh, I know. I can teach them about money." So he created the Freedmen's Bank, right? Mm-hmm. But you know the history. He got assassinated before it can really get off the ground. Frederick Douglass tried to save it by putting $10,000 of his own money in it, but that couldn't save it because the government stopped funding it. They stopped supporting it. So eventually it went under. And then the money that was in it was stolen. So we didn't get, as my friend, my brother John Hope Bryan would say, we didn't get the memo on money, right? And then right after that, the Blacks were freed, but you had the Jim Crow laws in the South. So you're free, but not really. Yeah. Right? So that's another time where we were economically oppressed, right? And then after the Jim Crow laws were abolished, now the KKK stepped in. So now, once again, it looked like we're about to get AI, not too fast, right? And then Dr. King, right? As long as Dr. King was talking about, kumbaya, nobody messed with it. But when he started talking about America has to pay its debt to Blacks and start talking about reparation, right now I'm coming for my check, right? And then the sanitation boycott, what happens to King? He gets murdered. So we never really get a chance to get the help that we needed from the government. And here's why I say help, because after slavery ended, the government gave land to whites. Mm-hmm. And then what they didn't give away, they sold it for pennies on the dollar. Why? Because they understand that economic empowerment is what Americans need to make the American economy run. But we never got ours, not from the system. Mm-mm. But even with all of that, we're still able to rise, right? We're still not where we're still, behind. Because the average Black family's net worth is $7,000. The average white family net worth is $140,000, right? And it's not no other reason other than we don't own anything. Mm. We don't own homes, right? 41% of us own homes. So we got to get home ownership up, right? We got to get business ownership up, right? To close that gap. And so it's not necessarily a race thing as much as it's about an economic empowerment thing. So I don't know if I answered your question, but
somewhere in there.
Definitely did.
There, I think I answered it.
Definitely did, and answer the next couple ones as well.
Right. Check.
Man, and I have all types of follow-ups, but I'm gonna step back for a second. I know the Queen also has a question that she wanted to shoot y'all way.
Yeah, I loved what you said earlier about how we didn't get the memo about money. And it sounds like y'all have really taken that as a part of what you do, and kind of your responsibility with your business is to educate, right? Is to spread the memo. Let me give you the memo here, my brother, my sister. So when did that come about? At what point in this entrepreneurial journey did you start saying, okay, now we need to teach other folks how to do the same thing? Mm-hmm. When did financial literacy kind of, I guess, become a part of your story?
When I saw what it did for my family, right? And not necessarily just the money part, but the mental discipline. that it takes to pursue a business. Watch this. To the mental discipline that it takes to operate a household. All of that is tied back to financial literacy, because the main tool is discipline, strategy, planning, right? Delayed gratification, which, you know, and I don't want to be on here sounding like I have it all together. There's still like, I still drop the ball. But by the grace of God, I know when I drop the ball, I'm operating according to a plan, right? And I just say, okay, I got to get myself together, right? So, I want to say that. So when I saw what it did for my family, I looked around that I still had some siblings that needed to be rescued from financial slavery, right? Then I had some cousins that need to be rescued from financial slavery. I had some friends that need to be rescued from financial slavery, right? So it's just like the gospel. If I got something that can help you, I need to share it. So I feel like it's my civic duty, it's my responsibility. And I want to say this, even with that, there's still so much more that I ain't tapped into yet.
I love that.
We got the queen say, yeah, go ahead. I knew there was something there, Liz. Go ahead.
He doesn't sleep is what I was saying. His mind is always going, always going.
Look, visionaries, that's a common thread. I'm learning. It takes a sickness or illness of some sort to bring him down for a couple of days.
Right.
So how do you deal with that? And then that can be a question for Liz or any one of the kids. When you have, you know, your husband, your father, who's a visionary, who wants to be working, whose mind's always going, how does the rest of the family either respond to that or help balance out that work?
Well, I guess for me, two things. I can tell, like, when he's on the go and like really don't need to be bothered, you know. I can go downstairs and he down there in his office at the computer. I'm like, "What you doing, hun?" And he's like, "I can't talk right now." Yeah, it's something real quick, a very quick response. I'm like, "Let me give him his space," you know. But then there are other times he'll come in and I say, "Hun, how was your day? What's on your mind?" A lot. A lot. And I'm like, "Okay, you want me to rub your head? You want me to rub your back?" You know.
I'm not alone.
Crucial.
Bring it on in, hun. Bring it on in. I just rub them, you know. But it took some time to get used to it, you know, and to get accustomed to the busyness. Of course, he's always been a busy man, but this is on a whole nother level, you know. And because I respect him and I trust him, I know when I need to step back and give him his space. And then I can tell too when he needs me, you know. I guess we've just become that in tune, you know. I can tell when to step back and when to step close.
Let me just say, I appreciate you for that too. Because it wasn't always like that.
That's true.
Yes. I love that. I could definitely empathize with that as well.
Yeah.
We had some kings in the back. Y'all wanna? How do you support?
Well, basically, I was gonna add to what she was saying. I definitely see, like, whenever he's thinking something, he'll be sitting around doing like, or he start moving his thumbs and his hands like he's giving points. I'm like, "What you thinking?" You know, an event coming up, I'm trying to get some points together to see, and then he'll start telling me the layout of what he want to say. And I'm like, "Well, how about you phrase it like this?" Understand? He's like, "Yeah, that sounds good. Let's go with that." You know, it's just like you just gotta really be in his space to understand when he is thinking about what he's thinking about. I'm trying to help him formulate it, because he tells us all the time we are great communicators and speakers, and he has the mind, but we have really good communication. So we help him with that.
I mean, for me, seeing him like when he in his zone or he not really sleeping like that, it's just more inspiring for me. And it's kind of like I got to go self-check myself. And I don't live here in Mississippi anymore, so I'm in Virginia, and I'm kind of doing my own thing with football and school. but I often find myself thinking, referring back to him, how he operates, how he's getting up early or sacrificing, staying up later, looking at the computer, just working and grinding. So it makes me have to self-check myself, like, what am I doing? Like, I know he's doing his thing, but what am I doing to make the family name continue and to make everything grow? And so, like, and then I start referring to about to the, like, in the scripture where it talks about basically God doesn't like a lazy man, and he doesn't want anything to do with a sluggard. And I know my dad is the furthest thing away from a sluggard, and my mama is the furthest thing away from sluggards. So it's a self-check for me, and it makes me, when I do see him, or when I do come home, makes me want to, like, how to just attach to him and see how I can learn more and how I can help him and maybe ride around with him and help make his play easier. So when I go back, I kind of have a game plan for myself of what to do. Like, okay, I gotta wake up at this time, check these things off my list. If I gotta get this assignment done, I want to make these plays on the field. I gotta sacrifice, stay up later, study my playbook even more. So it's just more inspiring to me and see it come back full circle like that.
When they was talking, I was like, how do I not say everything that they just said? I know. We can take it out there. But for real, everything they just said, but to just mention something how he doesn't live here anymore. So the time that us all five been here, like the first time we've been all five together since, like, what year, Mom?
2019.
2019.
Wow.
Because I am doing my own thing. I've started my career as a professional actor. Jerry is pursuing football, and Jelani is still in college. So we're all away. So we're here. So seeing him in his face is like one, like them saying you allow him to work, but I kind of am like the vibe enthusiast in the way that I'm like, all right, y'all, it's time to hug. So I think I'm not afraid to crack the ice. That's been my thing all the time, not reading the rooms, which is but saying that to say, my daddy taught us all to be in tune and to be aware of him, which is a thing which is, I think, makes you a great servant and a great leader, because you know the person who you're working with, and you know you are in tune with him. With that, sometimes I was not in tune. So because of that, I'm able to not be in tune sometimes, but we can all come together and be happy.
Everybody plays a role. Everybody.
You know, off topic, y'all did y'all thing with these kids. Let me say this. Let me say this. Y'all did
by his grace.
He said by God's grace. Y'all did your thing with these young men. Love it. The positivity, the respect, the high level of communication that they have. Like, it's just beautiful to see. And as the Queen alluded to earlier, like, y'all literally are goals for families, for Black families. So it's just beautiful to see that 25-year projection of future on this screen. So much respect, much love for that.
Hey, let me add this too, because I don't want to give a false impression. This came with a lot of grit and grime. It came with a lot of prayer. You know, and you know, there was some seasons where it was not so good. Right. But God's vision for our family, God's promise to our family, I knew it was going to hold true even when I couldn't see it.
Right.
And eventually, it came back full circle.
Yep.
So I just want to say that to anybody who's watching. And during that process, as a parent, I had to grow. Right. During that season where it was like wanting my kid to grow, but then being, you know, he's that double-edged sword type God. He said, yeah, you're right about them growing, but where can you grow? Because there's some gaps where you're not so mature in. I'm saying that's one of the hardest things, because that breaks you, right? But God said he's close to those who are brokenhearted and contrite in heart. So if I'm going to get his closeness, I have to be broken. I have to be contrite. And so I just wanted to put that out there because I don't know. I don't want to give the false impression.
Yeah, he has always taught us authenticity, being yourself is the best, and being true to life is the best way to be. So it's echoing him. Yeah, just we look perfect, but we are also human. And
yeah, love that. And yeah, I know my dad, my parents can attest that now everything looks good as far as how my respect level for my parents. But yeah, when I was a teenager, it was not popping. Streets all in my name. Oh man. So we've been kind of going at y'all for a little bit with the questions. We want to give it a little bit of a break, a little bit of a rest, even though we know you're professionals. And enter into our Ask Declare segment. This gives you all any one of the beautiful five an opportunity to ask us a question about our own business journey. Sinclair is a health professional, or about our relationship. So we'll toss that over to the Reimonenq.
Go ahead, Javon.
Well, Sinclair, Miss Sinclair, you're a health professional. So I wanted to see what specifically does that look like for you? Because I am also interested in herbs. I am in school right now for nutrition and dietetics. And right now, it's just a hobby right now. I'm trying to grow that to a business. But I make herbal capsules and loose leaf teas. So I want to know what you do specifically. So how can I model what I do after you?
You already on the right track. I'll tell you that. So, I made him some loose leaf tea with some lemongrass and peppermint and ginger and everything earlier. That's how we've been nursing him back to health. But my role in kind of the health field is more like a health coach. So I'm a functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner. Wow. It's a mouthful. And FDNP. Long story short, I help folks in improving their health using like lab testing, which that was a huge thing for me. When so my background is chemical engineering and had nothing to do with health, but I grew my passion for health when I started my own health journey, and we started our own health journey kind of alongside. And I was just seeing like all of these changes happening in my mindset, in my body, in just everything. And I was like, similar to Tony Jr., kind of like, I can't keep all this information to myself. I have to find a way to amplify this message so that other folks can understand that what you eat, what you consume, right? Even with media, even with what you read, what you listen to, all of that does absolutely can completely turn around your health in a positive or negative way. And so, yeah, that started out with blogs, and then it turned into, one-on-one coaching. And now I'm actually a mentor for a health certification program. And so I help other health coaches that are coming through the program, and kind of as they get to the end of the program, to really make sure that they fully understand, like, how does nutrition, how does stress, how does, sleep, how does all of this affect your health? And so that's kind of my role right now, as well as I do have a couple of clients on my own. But yeah, that's kind of me. I really wanted to be able to help folks improve their health without, I'm not a licensed medical doctor or anything like that, but my belief has always been that you don't have to be, and kind of trying to shift that mindset that those are not the only health professionals that we all can be looking at to improve our health. So just trying to grow myself into that example, as well as, trying to create folks like that behind me as well. But with my analytical background, I did love the aspect and really wanted to tap into the aspect to utilize lab testing so we can get that hard concrete data. I can look at each individual client and say, okay, based on this is what you need to do, rather than kind of giving like one-stop shop, in general, this advice should work, give it a try and we'll see what happens. I really liked the aspect of like, oh, I can put my analytical skills to work. Like, let's run some labs. Let's see what we got going on here. Let me put my detective glasses on and let's see what is contributing to the way you're feeling. So a really long way to answer your question, but that's a little bit about me and my passion for health.
Okay, thank you so much.
Hey, Sinclair, I have a question for you.
Yes,
so
sir.
on this journey of being a health professional, have you seen anybody get healed from the products that you gave them?
Yes, Yes. And so actually, if you a couple episodes back, oh no, that was for the marriage challenge.
Yeah, you talking about Rana?
Yeah. So Rana, we had her on the podcast, her and her husband, they have a business as well. We met and I really got a chance to kind of learn about, you know, what she's going through and kind of gave her recommendations like, hey, these are some simple lifestyle changes that you could make that I think will really start to turn your health around. And then, you know, life happens. We weren't communicating for a few months, but she came back when we actually had her back on the show, and she was like, I just want to let you know, like, I've lost, you know, X amount of pounds and I'm feeling so much better from those simple recommendations you give me. I didn't write no prescription. I didn't do anything like that. I actually didn't recommend any specific products. I just told her, hey, if you just do this, eat every day, if you just, you know, get on the treadmill, walk 30 minutes a day, if you meditate for 5 to 10 minutes a day, right? All of these things are going to really start to compound and decrease your stress load, which should really help your body be able to heal, because our body takes a lot of energy away from our immune system, from our digestion, from all of these things that we need when our body feels under stress. And so, yeah, that's really what I was able to help her do with just a couple of sessions. And yeah, it was really, it filled my cup like so much to know that from just a couple of hours, you know, of time put into her, that I was able to affect her life in that way and you know, have her do kind of a turnaround. So yeah, I'm still early on in my health career, so I haven't seen like any
your own high blood pressure.
Oh yeah, my own health journey too. I be forgetting about me. I do. I had been hearing from the doctors since I was probably like late teenager, that I had high blood pressure and that, you know, oh, you know, you need to lose some weight, you need to do this and do that and clean up your diet, but they never told me how. And you know, try to get your blood pressure under control. Otherwise, we're gonna have to go on medication. And it was always just the next time it's gonna be, and then, you know, I went to college, went to a new doctor. They were like, the next time you come in, you might have to. So it was always the next time. And so I was always just like, dang, I really got to get this under control. I'm not trying to go on medication. I'm too young for that. And so, yeah, between, you know, meditation, incorporating just more nutrient dense foods, like I started drinking like green juices, you know, smoothies, and really just paying attention to what I'm eating. And if it's something didn't agree with me, I stopped eating it, or would at least limit the amount of whatever that is. So like dairy, things like that I don't eat too much of anymore. I just saw such a big difference. And I was always kind of like, does meditation really work? Like, I can't shut my brain off. That seems like woo woo, but like, no, it's truly transformational. So just, you know, started out like 5 minutes a day on just doing some breathing exercises, and that alone decreased my anxiety. My high blood pressure it hasn't been high since. It's normal. And just a lot of, I used to get sick, like how he's sick now. This used to be me every 2 months, like clockwork. And I haven't been sick in years, outside of when we got COVID for New Year's. But outside of that, like I haven't been sick in years. So I've seen a turnaround in my own health as well. That's been, again, just something that I'm like, I have to let people know that, like, because unfortunately in the Western medical world, they don't make that connection for you. They won't tell you like, oh, hey, if you tried eliminating this in from your diet, or if you tried adding this in, that might solve your problem, because that's not how they're trained. And so, you know, once I realized that, I took it upon myself, like, well, let me try to be that person for somebody. I'm not a doctor, but that doesn't mean that I can't have the same impact on somebody. So yeah.
Beautiful. Good to see the queen passionate about your health. I love to see it. Love to see
Thank
it.
you.
So getting back to the Reimonenq. Listen, I got y'all now. I got y'all now.
You got us,
man. I want to make sure we give folks some good practical steps after watching this. I know they're going to be inspired, right? I know there's families watching this being like, okay, you know, we're building, or we want to build a beautiful, strong Black family as well. We're interested in also pouring into our community. How do we do something similar out here in Arkansas, Kansas, Iowa, Oregon, Texas, all that? So I don't know how many steps it's going to go through, but let's at least start step one, right?
Okay.
So a family is interested in building their own. They wouldn't use Greenwood Plaza because, you know, that's probably your own intellectual property. They may name it something else, but they want to start their own Black Wall Street center community. What would y'all suggest as step number one?
All right. First, after your why, be clear on your why. Be very clear on your why, because when it gets hard, that's going to keep you going. Right? Be clear on your why. After you clear on your why, you have to look at your personal finance. Right? Get out of debt if you're in debt. Right? Grow your credit score. Right? Start to generate wealth, mean buy assets. Give back. I would consider that personal finance, right? So have a strong why, get your personal finances in order. You can't build wealth if you're in debt, right? So get out of debt, right? Then after that, find like-minded people, right? Who on the same time you on, right? Who also have a strong why, who also have little to no personal debt, right? Who have a solid credit score, right? So I would say that's the next step. Then after that, you have to start looking for a property, right? And a property has to be well evaluated, right? So you'll need a team. And you don't necessarily have to pay these people out of pocket, but relationship is good currency, right? Who's a local realtor in your town that can help you analyze, a commercial realtor that can help you analyze a property to see what the upside potential is to it, to buy it right? Because if you buy it wrong, then you know it could be a nightmare. So to buy it right. The location of the property matters, right? Then outside of that, another question you have to ask yourself is, if I buy this property, are there enough entrepreneurs in the area to fill this space, right? So that's another question you have to ask yourself. So you got to look at the numbers, right? And in helping looking at the numbers, you're going to need a commercial realtor. You're going to need a banker, right? You're also going to need an attorney, right? Now, these are not people you have to pay just yet, right? Take them to lunch. Just share your vision, and they'll talk, right? An accountant, a CPA, somebody to have, so you can be taken seriously. So now, once you analyze the property, once you write your overview of the property, meaning here's where the property is, here's what I could do to it, and here's what it'll look like after I do what I'm going to do to it, right? So, and those are a lot of mini steps up in that. That's just kind of the big snapshot, right? Because there's a thing called NOI, net operating income, which when you buy commercial real estate, determines the value of that commercial real estate. So for instance, if I'm buying real estate and it's grossing, I don't know, just say easy numbers, $10,000 a month. Well, I know if I rehab the property, improve the property, that's gonna get me some sort of equity. But then also, now that I improve the property, the rents are gonna go up a little bit. So now I just created my own value in that property. Now, if I can put together a financial statement and submit it to the bank, and that's gonna make the bank let their money go with me once I leave there. Because I gave you a financial document, I gave you a narrative, and it's sound because I had my CPA to check it, right? And I have my commercial realtor to check it. So now when I'm talking to the bank, I'm not just talking about a pipe dream, right? And so that's the financial phase of it, right? And so you're also going to need not only that relationship with the bank, but it's going to come back to being able to use that property that you're going to purchase as collateral, right? Because a bank going to want collateral. Okay, I'm going to use this property that I'm purchasing as collateral. All right, now the bank is going to need a down payment, right? And typically on commercial real estate, they want 20% down on the deal, right? Now, if that's a problem and I don't have 20% down, I could maybe raise the down payment. And how do I raise the down payment? I may have some family members, I may have some coworkers, I may have some like-minded people in the community looking for a way to invest because they want to do the same thing, but they don't have a down payment either. But we come together, the little bit you have, the little bit I have, the little bit she have, we put it together. Now we got a down payment. Right? And there's a way you can do that where you can make them equity partners or you can make them debt partners. Here's the difference. A debt partner is somebody that when they put their money in, you pay them back plus interest, they're going about their business. An equity partner, they have perpetuity in the deal. So now after I pay them back, they still continue to get a percentage on the profits that I make because they're equity partners. But you have to talk that through. That's where your lawyer come in at, right? To help you determine, which is best. And you may have to do a mixture of both. Because Liz might want to she might want to be a debt partner. Tony might want to be an equity partner. I say, okay, well, we'll make a contract for you. We'll create an LLC.
There we go.
Because I'm going to create an LLC with my equity partner. Does that make sense?
Yep.
And with my debt partners, that's not necessary. I just need a promissory note. Just like you would do with a bank. Everything is above board, right? And so, so when we take that professional approach, people feel secure, and when a person feels secure, they'll do business with you. Right? So that's kind of a big picture overview of it, right? And so that's how you can raise the money for down payment on the deal. But now watch this.
Talk to me.
Once you acquire that property, you put, let's just say, for instance, let's say it's $1 million property. And now you got to bring 10% of $1 million? That's 100,000. And then so 20% is $200,000, right? So let's say you bring $200,000 to the table. You got debt partners, you got equity partners, and you bring $200,000 to the table. Like, boom, here you go, Mr. Banker, right? So now you got that, and then you rehab the property, right? And because you rehab the property, you got tenants that's ready to pay, market value for the property. So now you just took a property that was worth $1 million, right? To now is worth like $2-3 million. So you put, just like that. So you put $200,000 down on $1 million property. Now it's worth $3 million. So count that up. You got $2 million in equity. Equity is real money. You just created $2 million out of thin air. Out of thin air. Now you can do whatever you want. You can refinance that and pull that $2 million down. Well, 80% of the $2 million you can pull down. Right? Or you can just let it sit. Or you can leverage it to go buy another property while you have that one. And just keep leveraging it. And once you draw down and refi that money, you can the money that you borrowed from your debt partners, pay them back. You pay that back with the equity. Like you said, boom, 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 here you go. Nice doing business with you. And now you get a name where people gonna try to bring you their money. I have people now that they just want to write me a check. I'm like, no, I don't need your money right now. Hold tight.
Not now.
Right.
Not later. We'll have another video for you.
So that's kind of like, that's just like just a simplified way to how you can get started. And then people can reach out to me. You know, I'll share a little bit I know, and maybe I can hook you up with somebody else who I got a piece of information from. Right? It's for the sharing. Because if I can help enough people get what they want, eventually I get what I want.
Yep.
Right? If I can help you get to it, to where you're trying to go to your promised land, right? I eventually get to mine.
Love it.
Nice.
Love it.
So that's kind of in the nutshell. I hope that answered your question.
It did. No, I think if people please, again, take that last 10, 15 minutes, rewatch it over and over again. We're going to take that clip, and that's going to be a complete separate clip, right? I don't know how many steps. There was a lot of steps in there. I'm not gonna lie. But the 12 steps to build, your own Black Wall Street. And I think that's a way. I know I'm gonna rewatch that over and over again, because you make it very practical and realistic. And I think sometimes when we think about real estate, like when I talk to high school kids about real estate, it's out of this world for them, right? And then when we talk to adults about commercial real estate, it's out of this world to us because we don't know people, we don't talk to people who have done it. So to be able to listen to your journey and those tangible steps, it's not an impossible feat. And I'm looking at the queen like, hey, next year, what we doing? And she's talking out of it. I know.
I'm not.
You're not?
I mean,
Come
if you
on.
think about, you said next year, but we'll talk about the timeline. But it's literally,
see how quick she switched on me, ladies?
It's literally the same process that we're doing right now in Chicago. Right. So I think also like it can feel very and very foreign and unfamiliar. But I think once you dip your toes into real estate, you start to get a feel for like, okay, this is generally the process. So how is it different now for commercial, or how is it different if I don't have the down payment? Right. And it's just those little switches you got to make. But I mean, right, the basic steps I think were the same, pretty much the same that you would want to do if you wanted to purchase your own your home. Is like get your personal finances together, right? Get your team, who's around you that's going to help you get to that goal, and then buy the property. Yeah,
absolutely. Then you think about, okay, am I going to manage the property personally, or am I going to hire a property manager?
Yeah,
right. That's another deal. And then I'll say this. If you can't get traditional funding, there's a such thing as creative finance, right? So there's all kind of ways to get the deal done, right? What are some creative financing? You can get seller financing, right? Subject to financing.
Can you explain subject to financing?
Well, subject to is like person sells you the property, finance you the property, you do a closing just like if you were writing a check for the property, your name goes on the deed, but the loan stays into the name of the seller. Right? The loan stays in the name of the seller. And usually a seller that's trying to maybe get out of a deal, trying to retire, trying to go on with their life, usually they're interested in doing a subject to finance deal. Nice.
All right, go ahead, look that up. I think I've heard it before on Bigger Pockets.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep.
That was good. All right. Listen, as I said before, like we could literally be here, Miss Liz, all day, but I'm not gonna do that to you.
I'm sure they got things to do.
Y'all got things to do. It's the first time this beautiful family has been in one home together. So, huge shout out to that. Hope y'all enjoy a beautiful, well-deserved vacation after this. We're gonna do some very quick updates, and then we'll give it to you all for the last word of the episode. Any links? I know we have the linked up at empowermentcenter.org there, but any special shout outs that y'all want to give to your own partners or your community, we'll give the floor to you. All right. So first we'll do some updates. Queen, updates that you would like to share.
I feel like we have one major update. I don't know
That
if
is
you would
correct.
will leave the honor to you.
You got it,
Or
Queen.
unless okay. So if y'all follow us on social media, then you should know by now. But we've been alluding to a really beautiful partnership that we have formed in the last couple of months. And so with the JLH, the Drew and Lauren Holiday Social Impact Fund, not only did we get a grant to support our business from them, but they also partnered with us to gift a Black Wall Street. Where is it? Thank you. A second edition of Black Wall Street, the board game, to every single player in the NBA.
Wow.
That was huge for us. And the backstory of that is basically we went to I went to a reunion for all of the businesses all of the Black businesses in LA that they have been supporting. And so when it got to me, I talked a little bit about the game. I gave them a game. And afterwards, I went up to Drew and just, again, thank you so much for supporting us, all that. And he was like, huh, y'all got like hundreds of these available? I was like, yeah. I'm like getting all excited. Like, what you about to say, Drew? I was like, yeah. And he was like, okay. I might want to like gift these to some folks. I'm like, cool. I'm thinking like his family or something like that. And then, later on they were like, we actually want to send a game to every single player in the NBA. And
wow.
Our minds were like, of course. Of course, let's do it. So we literally just finished packaging and mailing everything off. We didn't mail all of the games out, but we had some other stuff that we were packaging up and mailing to the teams. So that partnership is underway. Some of the teams have already opened their games and got to witness that. So just super thankful to JLH, Alexis, Quinn, Yarina, all of the team that's been helping us bring this together. And of course, Drew and Lauren Holiday. Much love to y'all and supporting our small business. It really shows a lot that you all took your salary, and really repurpose that to support Black businesses.
Wow.
I can't thank you enough for that opportunity.
Wow.
Oh yeah, that was huge, and the Queen did a good job at showing love to all of our partners. So I wanted to make sure I show love to the team, starting off with Sinclair. Thanks for making that bad boy happen. It's a beautiful moment. Well done, Sinclair. Jair for capturing some of the footage, and then of course Harry for editing that footage as well. So love the full team effort. If y'all don't already, make sure y'all go to playblackwallstreet.com. Get yourself Black Wall Street, the board game. This whole episode has been about generational wealth. It's been about building within the Black community and learning the legacy of Tulsa Black Wall Street, but bringing that legacy to today, right? So whether you're doing that in building your own Greenwood plazas and, doing real estate development in your community, or you're doing that through a family fun board game called Black Wall Street, the board game, either way, bring the legacy of Tulsa Black Wall Street to today. And I don't know if y'all have a game yet. It can be a gift. We'll definitely gift y'all a game. And we
definitely I would like one.
Oh yeah, easy.
We'll make it happen.
Oh yeah, I'll send that to you right after this. I'll send you a link so y'all can order it. If you're listening, y'all ain't getting a free link. I just want to be
you go by.
I want to be clear, right? Our listeners, our community, y'all know I love you. But yeah, y'all go ahead and pay support. Go to playblackwallstreet.com. And get your game today. Now let's pass it back off to our esteemed guests for any last words of beautiful wisdom or inspiration you want to give to Black families listening, and then of course any social media shout outs or events that are happening within your space that you also would like to highlight.
Y'all have anything?
I think family shout out. We did not plan this, just be saying this, but just remember to love, show God love to everybody you meet. And I think that will say much more about you than you ever have to verbally speak.
Nice.
But that came to me. But shout out, man. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I say I have some shout out. Shout out to our team that help us do what we do. At the Magic Hand Salon staff that work with my wife, she had one of the greatest staff. The Linked Up staff, I don't have a paid staff, but I have independent contractors I work with, my bankers, lawyer, CPA, my property management company, London and Steadman. Also, my contractor, Mitch Moore Contracting, does a lot of my work. Also, a banker friends. Thank you for your money. You can't do it. You can't do it without them. So I am grateful, and also, man, my church family, West Point Baptist Church. I'm executive pastor for the last 20 years,
Nice.
and so I'm thankful for the church family as well. And then this family right here, I'm thankful. I mean, they're my inspiration.
Yeah.
And to cap it all off, it's all bathed in, God and the gospel.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm just, forever indebted to everybody that I just named on that shout out.
And lastly, thank you guys for the opportunity.
Yeah, man, y'all, listen, y'all are so professional. I mean, like, man, your communication has been impeccable leading up to the event.
Yeah.
And then you're just so advanced in how you the links and stuff that you sent, and not to mention the quality of the podcast.
Come on,
I'm looking at the screen, and it's very, very professional.
Thank you.
Very professional.
So we're just trying to get y'all ready for that Oprah call, that Tyler Perry call. We're trying to get y'all there. So we're the halfway point until y'all get to release or something like that.
And we've come a long way too. If you come back to some of our earlier episodes, we were quite as professional. So
skip the first 100.
Right. It took us a while to get the hang of it.
But yeah, again, lot of love, lot of respect. Thank y'all for taking the time to join us today. If you got any value and you're watching this, make sure y'all like and give the Reimonenq family some support. Go to their Instagram, go to their website, linked up Empowerment Center and support, or join the newsletter. Definitely a lot more to come from this family, from this kingdom. All right. But again, we appreciate y'all for tapping into the Melanated Married Millionaires in the Making show, episode 143. I'm your host, Devon Travell, creator of Black Wall Street, the board game.
And I'm Sinclair, aka the Health Nerd.
We hope y'all secure the marriage. We hope y'all secure the love. And of course, we hope y'all secure the bag. Thank you for supporting the M4 show and our mission to increase the wealth of Black families.
If you received any value from this episode, any value at all, any, do us a favor and give us a like and subscribe on YouTube and Apple, Spotify, anything, all of them, all of them, wherever you're listening. Go ahead and like and subscribe.
And after you like and subscribe, make sure you send this episode to at least one family that you really want to see win. We'll catch y'all next time. Peace.